Howdy folks, how are y'all doing? My name is Reese, and welcome back to the Minecraft 2025 Let's Play Adventure, where today I wanted to talk about some of the plans I have for the house before the end of the year, because one of the objectives on our sign up top there is to finish, in quotes, the house. So, I mean, I don't think it says it in quotes up there currently. It probably should, actually. Should we go verify? We probably should, because as discussed in a previous episode, I don't think we're ever going to actually really truly be finished with the house. I think we're going to be always working on it, always changing it, always improving certain things and adjusting certain things. So I don't think we can ever really finish the house. However, it says finally, or finish the house finally. We're going to alter it. We're going to say, well, hold on, I want that to be capitalized. Finish the house. Right? And then ... for 2025. Because it's never going to be finished. And also, can I fit house up here? Yeah, that's better. And then down here, we'll put that in brackets. Finish the house for 2025. And how are we going to do that? What approach are we going to take to finish the house? Well, I've basically decided on a couple of different things that I want to get done so that we can say that it's finished, right? So we can put a big old quotation marks up in the air and say that we're done. So for number one, I want to finish this entrance, but we're also going to relocate it because I do now like the idea of having these stairs spiral all the way down to the foundations of the earth. So how much of a gap is between these? 3 blocks? So if we go from here, 1, 2, 3, we're going to have stairs here, much like we have coming down, and we're going to do that all the way down. And that does sort of get in the way of this entrance, but that's okay because I've decided to relocate that entrance. We talked about this. We speculated that, this was a thing we could do. Never really decided one way or the other that that was what we were going to do. But I have now decided that we are going to relocate this exit to where the portal is and relocate the portal probably to over here and maybe redesign this entire side of the building in lieu of that. I haven't decided exactly how about we're going to go doing that, but the primary reason for it is because this is already elevated over here, so we can just have it be at this level, and then we can fill all of this in, and then that kind of brings me to the other thing that I want to get done before the end of the year, which is I want to extend the front of the mountain quite a ways, okay, quite a ways, because what I've been thinking about doing was having all of this up here, maybe not all the way up, but kind of sloping down here, extend out. And then I've talked about how to connect this bridge up to the village over there. And we even talked about maybe building just a second bridge that is for the peasants. And then we have this royal bridge. But that creates a big security concern when you have 2 different points you have to defend. Better to limit the amount of entrances. So obviously all of this needs to be encased in dirt. And then what I thought about doing was extend the land to be flush across the front here. So kind of continue where that is, straight across, and have it kind of come up and meet up just about at the bridge, have stairs that go down, and then have a pathway, or actually have the roadway be up here, so it goes over the top of the new extended cave that we're going to have. So basically just bring all of that out. Have a road right here that goes that way, a bit of a portcullis up there, and a couple of guards, and have the road come all the way around here. Gonna get rid of this edge right there, and instead the path is going to kind of fold right along on the side here, eventually leading up into the village proper. That is the plan at the present moment. And then that'll lead into the pathway and everything, and I think that'll look pretty good. I think that'll look pretty decent. And then how is this going to be maintained, or how is this going to be handled? Well, all of this is probably going to be filled in right here, all the way up and blended into the mountain. And then we'll probably just have that go down into a fountain, maybe, of some kind. Have it be decorative, have it look nice. So those are the things that I want to do. And then aside from that, that's, the island. Those are the 3 main things that I want to do. I want to fix that entrance. I want to extend the front of the island. And I want to finally finish the nether floating island that just looks awful. It looks repulsive. It looks repugnant. None of us like it. That's our plan, and we're sticking to it. That's our party, etc., whatever else people say. That is what we're looking to do in order to tick off the finish the house achievement. Obviously, there are other projects that need to be done. We have to decide whether or not we want to have this be oxidized, definitely not exposed, regular copper, switch it back to iron. The more that I look at that, the more that this is kind of growing on me, and I think we might just do that. Also, would we get some sort of benefit from spreading the oxidized ones out to different like parts of the fence? I don't think so. Honestly, probably not. But I like the theory. I like the concept. Let's see what happens. So yes, even though I did just mention digging a passageway all the way down to the very depths of the earth, digging this sort of down, having it be constantly spiraling, not actually planning on doing that as part of the end of the year goals. We're not going to be doing that as part of our challenge to complete before the end of the year. It's just another thing that we want to have done at some point in the future. As for what we're doing today, I figured we would go ahead and get started with what's going to be the biggest of these projects by bringing in some more dirt. I'm trying to decide what to do here. I don't think we're actually going to leave this as just a giant gaping hole. I think we're actually going to build some kind of fortress entrance here, but that's not for today. That's not today's project. That's just, something we need to keep in mind as we go. But what I'd like to do is go ahead and bring in the dirt, finish encapsulating this thing so it's not just awkwardly jutting out there, and then maybe get some sand and try to expand the base of the island a bit to figure out exactly how far around it's got to go, and sort of figure out, like, okay, we know we need to go 3 blocks out. Oh, well, I mean, actually, it's going to be at least 3 blocks for the road, but it's going to be further, because we are going to go from, I guess, this point. That's going to be the point we go from and bring it all the way around. And we do have to leave... What's going to happen is that it's going to go up to maybe this point, and then there's going to be sort of like an arch, because that's where the cave is going to be. And the cave is going to be bigger. So the cave is going to extend out to, like, maybe here. I want it to be a big cave. A big cave that's not perfectly flat across the front either. And so then it's going to curve back in here and kind of maybe go in line with what we've already got going on here. So I don't know if maybe we're going to have it go in... But, this is why we're doing what we're doing today. We've got to sort of figure all of that out right here, right now, get it all sussed out in our minds. Sussed out? This is a weird way of phrasing what we're doing here today. But it all starts with a bit of dirt and a bit of sand, and your good friend Reese, the man with the plan. The half-formed plan. The barely... I mean, half-formed might even be an exaggeration. To be honest, it's maybe like 3/4 of the way there. And then also, now that I think about it, I guess I should start with the dirt up top. That's okay. We've got a lovely staircase here that gets us exactly where we need to be. Ooh, okay. Thought we were going to take a really rough landing, but that's good. We're good. Everything's good. We're not going to worry about this looking nice. It doesn't need to. Just needs to be practical and functional. And we're not as worried these days about wasting dirt as we used to be, because we do know that we can, in fact, if we need to, duplicate it by making gravel in the end droppable item duplicator, whatever we would call that. I don't know. Our end portal duplicator? I guess probably that, except that makes it sound like it's duplicating end portals, which it in fact is not. But you get the general idea. You get the gist of what we're working towards here. We can make gravel, and then we can combine the gravel with dirt. But then the only tricky part there is that we do then have to break all of that like resulting rough dirt material, and that's a bit of a tedious process. What we're talking about is tedium versus, before we thought, hey, it's a limited resource, we want to be careful with it. Even though it was kind of always silly to treat dirt in Minecraft like a limited resource, when you consider the fact that no longer how long I play on this world, I will die before we run out of dirt on this world. That's just a factual statement. That's not me being morbid or grim. It's just true. We're never in this series going to reach a point where we are out of dirt. I'm going to die. If I ever have children, which I'd love to, my great-grandchildren will be playing this world, and there will still be plenty of dirt. So, silly thing to worry about. But there you go. There's that. Like I say, we probably are going to build like a big entrance for it. Maybe similar to the ones we've got along the sides. But now we've got to figure out this. Now, something we've never done around here is had a beach. And, we have a beach on half of the island. Like, this half of the island has a beach. This half does not. Now, this is natural Minecraft world gen. You can actually see the edge here where the natural world gen ended, and I built this horrific mess. But maybe we can tie it all in together a little bit more naturally if we extend to the beach. And we have all of this have a beach. So, I think I'm going to start that right now. I'm going to start putting me down a beach. Hello? Can I? Jeez, what was going on there? I got stuck. Got locked. We are going to mostly use sand for this expansion. The main reason being, as many of you already know, we have so much of it, and it is much more readily available than dirt. Especially when you consider that, we don't have to go through extra steps when we duplicate sand. The result of the duplication naturally is sand, right? Sand is a gravity-fed block, so we can just go straight to it. We don't have to go to gravel and then combine with dirt and then split to split dirt. This just immediately, we can spit out as much of it as we need. Which makes me think that, today's episode's probably going to end with me walking out of the room with the game running and sand being duplicated. Because gosh darn it, I have a feeling we're going to need a lot more of it if I want this beach to look nice. We are trying to make sure that we don't have any places where the sand is like this, where there's like a one block where there's a step there. Because typically we found that prevents the undead from crawling out of the oceans. But it's not 100%. We've noticed this. We have had this experience where, for whatever reason, sometimes they're still able to get out and we don't know why. But let's see. Let's experiment. Let's do our thing. We're going to build a sort of wall of sand along the base here, and we're going to map out... Well, we got to map out this bit before the cave. Well, no, the base of the cave is also going to be kind of sandy. So, or it'll be stone, or it'll be a combination of the two. So that's okay. But we got to map out where we expect this to go. I wish I could put sand on top of that, but I do know already that if I do, it's just going to go straight to the depths, which is a shame. We're just going to use... there's already a natural ravine here, which I think is really cool, and we've already kind of built off of that for the rest of this. So I'm not going to shake things up. I'm just going to continue to use that as our natural edge. That leads some... That lends this a little bit more credence as like a natural occurring thing in Minecraft, right? Like if we follow this naturally occurring crevice into the earth as our sort of guide point for where we build this wall, it seems reasonable that this is actually, the way that the island formed. Because there's no chance I sat around and dug that out. I don't think we're going to be lazy with this expansion and do what we did over here where this is all hollow. Because let's be honest, we did that because I was being lazy. There was no reason other for it. We've kind of done a neat thing with it where, axolotls they don't, but they can swim in there if they want. And we have other aquatic life in there. And eventually, I would like to expand it to be a proper sort of cave. Have sandstone along all the walls. I think that would be neat, and we'll do that someday. We just haven't done it yet, and we're not going to do it by the end of the year. Don't get your hopes up here, folks. I'm not announcing another project ere the end of the year. That is not on our bingo card of completion, if you will. I love the concept of you all playing bingo with your grandmother with this series. You go over, every day, or every week, maybe every Sunday after church, you go over to Grandma's house, you watch all 7 episodes from that week together, and you've got your bingo cards, and you say, okay, let's see, I've got on my bingo card, Reese says a word, but it's the wrong meaning. Oh, there we go, I've got that one 14 times already, and we're just on the first episode of the week. Hey, buddy, what's up? I didn't realize it was getting dark outside, so I'm surprised by your presence. Reese calls a hostile mob buddy moments before cutting his head off. Oh, we got that one. There it is. Good. Reese does a strange voice. There's that one. Let's go. Winning. Your grandmother's, cultural references are dated. All of her memes are over 15 years old. She just keeps saying things like, winning. Call me maybe. That's sad. She says, I just met you. And you say, Grandma, please no. And she says, and this is crazy. Grandma, I'm begging you. But here's my number, so call your grandma, baby. I think I've talked about this maybe even in this series, but one of the coolest comments I ever got was from a grandma who was watching my videos with their granddaughter. And she's like, oh, we love watching all of your videos. And they were watching not just the Minecraft stuff, they were watching Assassin's Creed videos together. And that, I think, more than any other comment I have ever received in my life, brought me so much joy. That comment made me so happy. The idea that somewhere out there was a grandma and her granddaughter, and they were watching me play Assassin's Creed, and it was a thing that they were doing together. I thought that was so cool and so sweet, and I hope they're both doing well. I hope the grandma's not dead. That was a long time ago I got that comment. That was quite a while ago. A lot of time has passed since then, I'm afraid. Wait a minute, there's no sand in that one. Do any of these have sand? Most of them do. Interesting how, you sort, but you still, they're not quite, they're still in, like, weird orders. I don't get that. Oh, that one barely had anything in it. Comment down below if you, I'm imagining most of my audience are young men like myself, various ages, but I'm gonna go take a nap. It's too dark out here for this. I imagine most folks watch YouTube videos the way that I do, right? It's kind of a, it's when you're not being sociable. I don't typically watch YouTube videos with friends. It's something, unless I'm like showing them a short or something. But for the most part, I watch YouTube content when I'm home alone, or when I'm trying to focus on something at work. I just turn it on so I can have my headphones in and look distracted, like, hey, don't talk to me, I'm in the middle of a busy thing. So, I always find it interesting to find out that people, I used to, well, no, I find it interesting to find out that people, watch my series with other people. Comment down below if you watch with other folks. I'd love to hear from you. And who you watch with, what your traditions are. There was a really fun period of my life where my brother and I would, every day for lunch, we were both homeschooled. Every day for lunch, we would just make our lunch, and we'd both go to my room. I had a 21-inch MacBook. Yeah! This would have actually been around the time I was doing YouTube, I think. Yeah, I think it would have already been in my last year of high school. Or actually, did I get that Mac? Not a MacBook, sorry, 21-inch iMac, which I think now I might have gotten for graduation. I can't remember the details of how I got that Mac. So, it might have been when he was still doing school. He would have been, I'm sorry, I know that I'm like struggling to get this out. I think he was doing late grade school, early middle school, and I was doing probably college courses at home. And for lunch, we would just hang out together. And we would watch stuff on my iMac. Here's the only issue with that, is that I'm pretty sure this started when I was younger. Or at least I have a memory of him being a lot younger when we would do this, and it could just be the case that it's a classic case of, it's my baby brother, so I picture him being younger or smaller than he was. But I guess the details aren't important. What matters is there was a period of time where every day for lunch, he and I would get our lunch together. Typically, we just made something at home, sandwiches or something. Or maybe, on special occasions, we'd go to town and get something to eat. And we'd bring it back, and we'd go to my room, and on my iMac, we would watch something together. And so that's the first time he ever watched Avatar: The Last Airbender, was because I told him, I was like, hey, I just watched this for the first time. I think I did that when I was in high school. I think it was the year I lost a bunch of weight over the course of one summer, because I was like, man, I'm tired of being fat. So I just started walking every day on a treadmill. It wasn't even that, I want to say it was like 10 or 15 minutes a day. It was 20 minutes. I remember that was exactly 20 minutes every day. Not 30, I don't know why. It was 22 minutes because I would just watch an episode of The Last Airbender while I walked. I'd never watched the show. Before that, I had seen like an episode or two on Nickelodeon. But the series had well and truly finished by the time I sat down and was like, yeah, you know what, I'm gonna watch this. I'm gonna give this a proper going over. And so I gave it a proper going over, while losing something ridiculous, like 30 or 40 pounds. I was like, this show is amazing! I wish I'd watched it when it was coming out! It's one of those things that you wish you could go back and experience. I wish I could go back and experience what it was like to watch Last Airbender week to week. Probably not, though. It would have been infuriating. There's some episodes that end, and you're like, no, I need to immediately watch the next one. And the idea of not being able to do that seems infuriating now that I think about it. But, yeah, I loved it so much. I was like, come to my room. Every day for lunch. I don't think we discussed it like that. It was just, I was like, hey, what are you doing? You want to come eat your lunch with me? We're going to watch this show. And when that had finished, I was trying to think of other things to show him. So I got him watching the guys who did the Shaft podcast, the Dead Workers Party at the time. And we watched through some of their stuff together. And then I was like, okay, I'm going to show him Hat Films. Because at the time, he was still kind of young. I was still, doing that thing where it's your little brother. You want to look out for him. I was like, you know what? Hat Films, they have some inappropriate conversations, but they censor. Back then, every curse word was censored on the Hat Films channel. So I was like, no, this is perfect. We are going to... Oh, that was... Oh my gosh! There's a lot happening right now. There's a lot to take in. They censored their content, so I was like, that's appropriate. So we watched through a lot of their stuff together, a couple of their series together. Got really excited for Origins. When is that coming out? Trot? Ross? Alex, when are we getting Origins? When's that gonna happen? I'm excited. I'm ready for it still. Me and my brother, it's only been like 10 years. We're still patiently waiting. Anyway, when that finished, you know, at that point we'd been doing this tradition, I guess you would call it, for like a year, where we just ate lunch together and watched stuff. And I was like, bro, I'm gonna show you something. And I was like, listen, they curse a lot, so don't repeat any of what you hear. He's like, okay, and you could tell like this was exciting for him. And I was like, I think it's mostly okay. You know, it's some pretty bad language, but you know, here we go. And I showed him, you know, Shadow of Israfel, and we watched through that together, and that was so much fun. And then he and I also watched through Tekkit together, the Tekkit Let's Play. Man, that series, the Yogscast Tekkit Let's Play is great. When you have the giant shin head underground, telling Simon how to live his life and all that. That was some good stuff, man. And I thoroughly enjoyed that. But the whole point of telling that story was just to share with you what my... Okay, alright, buddy, let's not get carried away, Mr. Dolphin. That was our experience together. That was how we watched, you know, the shows that we watched, he and I together, and we had a lot of fun. And it was a great time. So what are your traditions? It doesn't have to be with my content. I guess I should clarify. You know, what was something that you made a tradition out of watching with a family member or loved one or friend every time it came out new that you got really hyped for? I watched my friend Jenna. Many of you will know her. She's been in content before. She did not grow up with Harry Potter content. And so the first time she ever watched or read Harry Potter was because I got her into it. And I got her the audiobooks, and I got her the books first, and then I got her the audiobooks, and she like ripped through those. And as she finished each book, we would watch one of the movies. And one of my favorite memories of doing that was sitting down with her to watch the first movie, and she said, I can't wait to see how they handle... Spoilers for Harry Potter! She said, I can't wait to see how they handle Voldemort being in the back of Quirrell's head. And I said, well, what do you mean by that? And she goes, well, I know they're not literally going to have a face in the back of his head. That would be stupid. And I was like, oh... okay. And you get to the scene in the movie, and I look back at her, and she's just like mouth agape going, no! They did it! They actually did that? This is one of my favorite movie experiences. I'll tell you what, my friend Jenna, another time we were watching Star Wars, and she had watched Star Wars when she was like a little kid, but she hadn't watched it again kind of as an adult, and it had been, you know, over a decade for her. So I was like, oh, let's rewatch Star Wars together. It'll be fun. And she's like, okay. So we're watching through, you know, the prequels. We get through episode 1, get to episode 2, and during the scene where Obi-Wan goes to talk to Yoda, you know, Yoda's doing his little class, and he starts mocking and ridiculing Obi-Wan in front of the kids to make himself feel better. You know, Obi-Wan is asking him about the missing planet. Gravitation's silhouette remains, but the planet is gone, all of that. And as soon as that line is delivered, from behind me, I hear Jenna go, as if she just figured something out, and we all looked at her, and she goes, Death Star. We're like, what? She goes, no? Oh, never mind. Never mind. I thought I figured something out. It's like, you know, when your head is in the right place, and it does show up later in the movie in the form of a hologram, but God bless her. It was such a triumphant, oh! It made us feel bad for laughing, but we did laugh. Watching movies with her was always a delight. She also... I'm just remembering this now, too. When we watched episode 3, she asked the question... I can't remember the exact impetus of how this came up. But she was like, so, like, Anakin's... Like, I can't remember exactly how she said it, or exactly how she phrased it, but it was something along the lines of, well, you know, Anakin is just pretending to be evil. And we're like, what? And she's like, you know, he's pretending to be evil so he can get Palpatine to help him. As he's, like, slaughtering the Jedi, it was like, no, he has turned to the dark side. And she's like, oh. I was like, how did you think we got to this point where he's slaughtering children? And you're like, yeah, but it's just make-believe. He's just trying to trick the Emperor. It's so funny. I miss watching movies with her. And I know those are some stories of like goofing on her, but please understand she's very smart. She's very sharp. She's highly critical. It's just every so often she would just have a funny little goof while watching a movie, and that it made the movies better every time. I can no longer think about Voldemort, being behind the turban or the Death Star or anything like that without thinking of those little memories from watching the movies with her. 10 out of 10, vastly improved the movie experience. If you want to get more Jenna, you can watch on the Howdy Folks LP channel. We have a video where me, Micah, and Jenna played through Doki Doki Literature Club. Me and Jenna did a series where we played through some Sky Factory 3, and that was a whole lot of fun. We went to go see Solo, a Star Wars story, and I seem to remember we had a review of that during one of the episodes. She built an incredible melon farm. It was a lot of fun. While you're on the LP channel, you can watch a couple episodes of me, my brother, our friend Jenna's brother Brenton, and another friend of ours called Zay, doing a Tech It series that lasted for 2 episodes. Actually, I think I took that down because I was going to move it over here as a single uncut gem of an episode. Also, what am I doing? Did I decide I was going to fill all of this in today? I guess that's what I'm doing. Oh, oops. I wasn't planning on it, but I guess that is what I'm doing. I think what I want to do with the cave is have it be a bit deeper than this. So I don't know where the cave's going to start. Obviously, all of this is going to be pushed in now. So it's going to go kind of flat across the front here, because there's got to be room for this staircase anyway. And we might actually end up taking this part of the wall out, because I want to have it be a wider cave mouth. But I definitely want the bottom of the cave to be deeper than the current cave. So I might need to go ahead and start putting down stone there, and mapping out what the bottom of the cave is going to look like. And where, like, I've built this wall over here now, which is kind of meant to represent kind of along the top, where the top of the cave is going to be. But obviously, it's got to be cleared away to make room for the cave. Let me go back to sleep so we don't get monsters spawning. And I'm going to get some stone. We're going to figure this out. I'm going to collect this first, though. This makes sense. I think what we will do now is we're actually going to start by clearing out this section of wall. And we're going to say, okay, moving forward, this extends all the way out to at least here. So let's dig straight out, and if we decide to do a little bit more to one side or the other, we can deal with that after we go ahead and clear this segment out. And I suppose we need to clear it out. Well, we're not going to remove that segment, even though it needs to be replaced with deep slate tiles. For now, we'll leave it where it is, because it's a good representation of where the actual roof is going to end up being. So this is going to come out over here now. So here is our new cave entrance, more or less. So when we come out here and we look at it head on, yeah, it's already more impressive looking. Just for that very minor change. But that is only the beginning. So if this is the level that water is at, we're going to have 1, 2, 3 blocks of water if we put the stone here, right? Yeah. So that's going to represent the max depth of this place. So let's say we have the new edge of the sort of basement layer be right here. That gives us enough room for the stairs, which are only going to go to this point here anyway. And then how many blocks out ahead of them? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 full blocks? Yeah. I guess I could have used sponges to get rid of all the water. That would have been good too. But I was already down here, and I already had stone. And it's not that hard to clean up, and I don't have to go dry it out. Let me just come up with as many excuses for why I didn't as possible to justify my actions. Actually, I want to take this out one more. One more block for personal reasons. What are those personal reasons? I want there to be 3 blocks of bricks here, not just the 2. I know it's silly, but that's my reasons and I'm entitled to them. Never forget whose Let's Play you're watching here, kiddos. Not gonna worry about piecing all this together inside of here right now. I'm gonna go ahead and just say that's good enough for the time being. And we will progress on to trying to figure out what the basin of this thing's gonna look like. Something like that, probably. Sort of a U shape, all the way out. Let's go ahead and raise everything to this level, because that's gonna be the minimum depth, or the maximum depth, I guess I should say, for where the stone's gonna go. And then we'll figure out kind of how we want this to work, because the cave's gotta extend all the way to here. So, Yeah, there's going to be a lot of the cave that is just underwater before you actually get to the basement floor. Do we want it to go kind of like an angle? Does it get wider the further out it goes? I feel like, yeah, it gets wider until you get to the end. Maybe in both directions. Maybe trim some of that away and have the cave spread out. I don't know. I haven't decided yet. We'll see. I'm going to start framing it up here. Okay, I'm going to start working my way forward. See if I can't land on a design idea that I like. I have, as always, an idea in my head. But it is sort of a vague idea of how I want it to look, right? It's not, like, completely filled in. I think I've talked about this before, you know, the idea that some people can't visualize things in their heads. Not a problem I've ever had. I absolutely can. But for some reason in Minecraft specifically, I do kind of struggle to visualize. Like, I can picture in my head, but I can't put together exactly how I'm going to make it happen. I can picture in real life on the desk in front of me an anthropomorphic apple with big eyes, little legs. He's got a top hat and a cane, and he's doing a little jig. And I can project that into the environment that I am in, and I can just see that. I can see that happening before me, even though it's not, you know, obviously it's not happening before me. But I can't picture for the life of me in Minecraft how this cave is going to look. Also, our max height for this thing is going to be sort of in line with the top of this. So you can't go higher than that. And in fact, it's got to be below that because that's going to be the path level. So that's pretty much limited us to where we already are with the top of the cave, which is unfortunate. In fact, where we are right now with the level of the cave. Yeah, it's a great Minecraft song, by the way. It's a real banger. It perfectly fits the situation. So like I said, what we did down here was we basically traced out the shape that we wanted the top of this thing to be. And now we just kind of have to fill it back in. Just under that we go. And that is going to be, awkward though it has been made, that is the front of our new cave. Oi! Ah! Get! Chew! That's kind of gonna be the new cave right there. Now all of this gets cleared back away. See, this is gonna be the base of the cave. You can see it's starting to take shape. All right, the base is done. I think the walls are kind of done. They're a little bit wacky. They're actually a little bit like this one's not quite right. That side's more of what I'm going for, where it's not quite so like perfect looking. Yeah, like that maybe. And then what I'm thinking about doing is glow berries. Lots of glow berries to prevent mobs from spawning in the corners. And then as for the roof, I was thinking like, okay, you know what? If we want to have a bit more variation in the height, even though we can't actually go higher, we could use slabs. Stone slabs would be perfect for it because they can provide like a little bit of a change in elevation. And also we could just stick those on the sides to prevent mob spawning as well, if we felt such a desire. And I'm thinking now that I might, because that seems like a great idea. Let's go ahead and hit F8. Put these down everywhere where mobs would otherwise spawn. Why take the risk? That is my question to you. And my answer is, I wouldn't. Oh yeah. Oh yeah, that's perfect. Yeah, for the segment in the middle here. Look at that. So immediately we get like a slight elevation change. It gets slightly higher. And we carry that through all the way down the middle. I gotta get up top. It's gonna be a lot easier to do this up top. We're getting somewhere. We're getting somewhere here. You know what? Do you know what I need to sleep, first off, so it's daytime? And then I'll tell you what else I need. I think a boat. I think a boat would be useful. Here's what I'm thinking, is that if I have a boat, and I get in the boat, I can more easily kind of sit on top of the water. Okay, you know what? I didn't consider how obnoxious it was going to be to actually try to move around on the boat while, like, in the boat. Oh. I thought that was a creeper. I ran past the entrance, I was like, wait a minute. Hold on now. Hold on just a second. That's not good. Boom. Look at this place! The new cave. Still not quite 100% of the way there, because, like this corner, you see how it doesn't quite look right. There we go. That's improved it. Same thing over here. I need to redo this a little bit. There we go. That's pretty good. I like that. Okay, now we got to add in the lighting, and I'm gonna go get some more deep slate tiles because this is getting This is getting silly. Okay, and then I'm assuming that we're going to have some spawn trouble, is what I was going to say, but in fact, no, even so. Well, I guess because there's a lantern right there. I'm going to add one, like, right there, and maybe one right here as well. We'll kind of shuffle everything around in the future. We don't have to worry about spawns out in this part of the cave. I would just like it to be a little lighter. So there's only going to be a few places where we can reasonably hang the glowberries, because some of this is stone, but some of it is stone slab. But that can go there. But you can see, like, over here, that's stone slab. That right there is stone, though. Collect that back up. Kind of tuck it in those corners, those dark, dark corners. Okay, I think that's enough of that for now. Our new cave. We've talked about this for a long time. Now I'm thinking that maybe it'd be cool to have, like, the stairs go across here, and then there's actually a dock that goes out with boats to either side. But that's not what we're doing today. Like I said earlier, we're focusing today on the sort of outside part of it, which is not as good looking at the moment. Admittedly, there's some more work to be done. Trying to mold the sand so it's a little bit more of a natural elevation change going into the cave. A little bit less jarring. I think that right there just about does it. Peeled maybe just a hair back right there. That's a bit too far. It's a bit more than a hair. Yeah, that looks better from down below. Ooh, this corner's rough. We can fix that. We can fix that. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, that's better. All right. The problem is that once you get up to the top, it's horrible. But that's going to be fixed when we start putting the dirt down. Oh yeah, and I got to finish filling all of this and the other side in with sand. Okay, took a second, pause the recording. Here's where we're at. All of this is filled in and brought up level with the rest of the beaches and ready to be topped with grass. Here is our cave. Obviously still not topped with grass. We're getting there. Here is this side, now completely filled in. And eventually I think we will raise the level of everything else to be up against this. And then, like I say, I think we might do some sort of a door, some sort of an entrance there. Maybe just kind of a bigger version of the entrances we've already got on the other sides of the cave. But it is going to shoot off in this direction. And uh-oh. Oh no, have I just made a realization that I made a mistake? That's not the level the dirt's going to be at. Where we're standing right now is the level the dirt is going to be at, in order for there to be a trail. Mistakes were made. I was ignorant and foolish. And now I am suffering the consequences of my actions. Or we just have the stairs go up into a dirt path, which is what we're going to do. I've already got some grass here. We can go ahead and use that. Oh, I gotta go back over here so I'm close enough to get my my buffs. There we go. At which point I can now make it over here. And then I guess we'll keep these like this. Except what we're going to do to signify that this is a direction you can travel in. Let me empty out my inventory. It's full of nonsense. Righto then, as I was saying mere moments ago before I got distracted, what we're going to do to indicate that this is a direction you can travel in is have that curve, and then that go there, and then... Oh, jeez. This is where our path is going to be. Come here, you. Get out of here. I know there's another. I know he's right below me. Hey, you. Hey. Oh, heavens, there's another one. That was behind me. Oh, that's great. That's fantastic. Great. It's just wonderful because I don't have sand in my inventory except for what I just collected. So I'm gonna have to go get more sand in order to patch all this in. That's spectacular. Wonderful. A path. So the path is gonna go off from there like so. And that means that this is pretty much gonna be like that. And this is just going to be a regular path. I wish I found a better way of transitioning. I could have this go out a little bit more, kind of like how this does. But it's fine for now. We might change it in the future. But that's the future. And what we're dealing with right now is the present. I think we're going to end up having to, if we're going to have this road cut through here, either trim some of this off, or extend some of this out, which means actually going out over the top of the crevice, which is fine. We can do that using either stone or sandstone, just have it be up here, and then kind of build up and extend it out a bit more. We also have to somehow bring the dirt down a level, so that it's the same as all of this over here. Should we not just build another staircase and a proper road? Should we stop with the dirt and everything? Should we just continue the path on the same as this was constructed? And then that way when we get over here, we can just have a staircase that goes down into a path. Actually, I kind of like that a bit more. So first off, that means that this... Well, only issue here is that brings us right up to the edge of the cave. So do we extend the edge of the cave? Do we push this further back? We could have it come out, like, further along here. So trim that even further back. I hate this sort of stuff. I hate doing this. This is not fun for me. I don't like trying to figure these things out. This might be a lot of people's, you know, cup of tea, their bread and butter, so to speak. It is not that for me. It's kind of just irritating and makes my brain hurt. I would describe this as fiddly nonsense, and I have no interest in it. But I'm obligated to do it. So I've decided that I'm going to. There's really no other reason. This is going to be a more narrow road, so I guess we go immediately to stairs? Now that I think about it, this isn't really how the road over there is built. It's 3 wide. And, well, I'm thinking of the stairs. Well, no, hold on. No, the road over here, yeah, is 3 wide with stone along the sides. Gotta go to sleep again already. I'm going crazy. I've been at this for hours. We'll just have it turn. That's just what it's going to be. It's just going to turn here, and that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. Alright, maybe we just do this. Maybe this is the idea. Okay, I redid the front of the cave a little bit. Still not perfect. Still has some work to be done. But now I gotta figure out what to do over here. Do I just bring up the sand even more? Is that better? Is that better what I've done there? I feel like it's getting better. And we'll bring the sand back up along here as well. I don't know, maybe it's not better. Maybe it's getting worse over time. I didn't want the top to be 100% like completely smooth, because I felt like that would look silly. I don't think I'm going to do anything about that right now, because I want to try to more naturally, gradually have that slope down. So I think I'll leave it be for the time being. But here's where we're at with the front of the cave. And I'm pretty okay with it at the moment. We got to fix the front here with the sand and everything. Because obviously we've kind of lost the beach. So we'll just need a whole lot more sand in order to restore that. Alright, I'm done for now. I've done enough for today. Several hours later, here's what we're working with. The new cave entrance. Very cool. Very chic. Very stylish. Very poppin'. Very out there and happening. I don't think you could really say it's either of those things. This is bothering me a little bit. I've only just now realized from a distance how much this protrudes out, and we're going to immediately do away with that. There you go. I feel like that's just better. That's probably fixed that issue, but here's the new cave, as you can see. I think it's a vast improvement over the original, and we'll add some vines possibly in the future, although I don't feel like they're as necessary as they once were. Meanwhile, here's what I've done with the roads so far, and in case you were curious, this is what it looks like on the map. It kind of just comes straight down, and then you get the smaller road zigzagging off to the side here, which, I mean, would make for a nice zigzag on the other side with the staircase we talked about building. So that's something I'm considering now. I'd kind of done away with that idea in my mind, but looking at it, yeah, we could absolutely just have that carry over, and then go up. And then just be up there at that little lookout point. So carve a little lookout point there. Maybe trim some of this up a bit. Make this not so boxy. Could raise the dirt over here a bit more, and I probably will do a little bit more blending right there, because that's just a little bit gnarly. Talking about a thing I might do in the future, and then I just turn around and immediately do it. The grass looks terrible, obviously, but it'll stop being grass soon. And it'll be, yeah, see, it's already starting to turn into just dirt, which is nice. This I'm trying to figure out. We'll probably just fill all that in the future and bring the dirt up to level there. Maybe have another entrance there. I don't know. I like having entrances, as you can tell. We keep adding them all over the place. But the plan here is the only thing I'm trying to figure out that I don't have completely sorted just yet. Obviously, the staircase is going to go down, and it's now at level with the rest of the island, so there will be a dirt path. The only question I've got is how exactly the dirt path is going to work, how it's going to form up here. So that's going to happen. And then it's going to go this way, where we run into a situation of either we extend the beach out that way and we make the island bigger, which we could do. And in fact, if we just brought this around and connected that up, the island would probably look less weird. Just make it, because there's this weird pinch point here where the island shrinks substantially, and it's always made this bit look artificially tacked on. It is, but it's always made it look that way, and we've been trying to steer away from that and to make it look a little bit more natural compared to the rest of the island. So, yeah, I was going to say the other option is to have the waterway be on the other side of the island up there, trim some of this back, and have just a little notch right there where it spills into the ocean. And then once all this is cleared away and restored to kind of like a more flat mountainside, have the trail run through here. Because I don't really know what I'm going to do with this otherwise. Obviously, all of this is going to get filled in. I think I do like the idea of having just like a little fountain down here that the water spills into. And yeah, we just have the trail. I think that's what we'll end up doing. We'll probably start right along in here and just kind of carry this all the way down to there. That'll be a project for the future. For now, I want to get a picture of the cave at night. So I'm going to hop on the boat and sail out here and turn back towards the cave entrance to try to get a good thumbnail image. And I will see you folks in the next one. Till then, thank you all for watching. God bless you, and I'll see you later. Goodbye!